In this lecture, we are going to update our Spring Boot web application to use JDBC User Detail Manager instead of in-memory User Detail Manager. So let's start by adding the required dependencies. Let's just go to our starter start.spring.io. We will just choose Gradle Groovy and we'll just add dependency. The first dependency is related to the JDBC. So I'll just search JDBC API. The second dependency is for MySQL database. And the third dependency is Spring Data JPA. So right now we are not using JPA, but in the upcoming sessions, we will upgrade our application to use Spring Data JPA. So we are adding this dependency in advance. After selecting this dependency in starter, you just need to click on explore and just copy this all dependencies, and you just need to go to your IntelliJ, go to build.gradle, and you just need to go to dependencies section and paste it. Let's just sync the Gradle changes. So project is now syncing. Meanwhile, let's just open the JDBC User Details Manager, and okay, so syncing is still in process. Okay, so if you can see here, all the errors of the JDBC User Detail Manager are now gone. Next, let's just configure the database configuration. We just need to go to src main resources application.yaml. Inside this, we are going to add data source column URL, and here I need to add JDBC colon MySQL localhost, and our database name is BankDB. And I think we don't need this right now. And the username would be the root and password would be the root. Next is the JPA colon show SQL, which is true. So this will, whenever Hibernate will run, whatever the query that is being executed will be printed in your log. So we will add one more property, which is JPA properties Hibernate format SQL true, which is basically used to format your SQL query, which is logged inside your console. Now let's just move to the security config class. So here we are creating the in-memory users, and now we are going to shift all the users to the database. So let's just comment it, and what we are going to do, we will create a bean of public user details service, user details service, and here I'll just return new JDBC User Detail Manager. But we are not going to use the default constructor of this class. Instead, we will be going to use this particular constructor, which is having a data source as a parameter. So let's just go to here, security config, and data source data source, and we will pass this data source here. Okay, so now we are all set. Now let's just go to our DB viewer and see what all user we have previously created. Okay, so previously we have created 2 users, Rishabh and Mohit, inside the database. Let's just also create 2 more users. Let me just go to table, and we can see view data, and we have 2 users that is basically here. Now let's create 2 more users. We just go to our script. I'll just copy this user query, and I'll just rename it to Rohan, and the password would be Rohan $11 hash and 2000, and key value would be Rohan. Again, I'll just copy, and I'll just use Mohan, and I'll use a bcrypt password. So let's just go to here, bcryptgenerator.com, and I'll just copy this, Mohan, generate hash, copy hash, I'll just paste this here, bcrypt, add a comment for myself that this is the actual password. Okay, and again I'll just need to pass this, and we'll execute the queries. Done. Now so you can see here Mohan and Rohan is now created. I'll just copy this query. Also check the authorities. Okay, Mohan and Rohan is now present. Now let's just go to our IntelliJ, and everything is set. Let's just run our application. Okay, so our application is now started. Let me just go to the browser and hit localhost contacts API v1 detail, which is a public API that is working fine. I'll just use the secured API, accounts API v1 details. Let's just enter Mohan. What is the password that we saved? That is Mohan, and this. Okay, so our database user is working perfectly fine. Let me just log out. Let's just enter Rohan, and instead of Mohan, I'll just do Rohan and copy this text password. Okay, so endpoint, we are basically logged in, but the API was not accessible. So accounts, API, V1 details, it is working fine. Let's just again log out. Let's just use the Rishabh password, Rishabh 12345, sign in, invalid credential, but just check the logs. Access denied, fine. Password is compromised, please change the password. So the user which we have inside our database, which is this particular user, let me just open this. Rishabh is having a compromised password. That's why the user is not allowed to log into this system. So till now, we haven't changed anything. Just to recap, we only done the changes inside the security config, and we just commented this part to create in-memory user, and instead we created a new data source and pass it as a parameter to user details service and create an object of or a bean of JDBC user detail manager. So do you think like only defining this authorities and accounts table would suffice our mates? Do we really only allow these three columns to be present inside the actual production related authentication user table? Is it really so? No. In the production scenario, we have n number of columns inside our user table. So how we would be going to customize this thing, we will see in our next video. Do like, subscribe and share to our channel. I'll catch you in our next video. Thank you.